In the last episode, we explored one of the biggest questions every vacation rental owner eventually asks. How do I create a guest experience that people genuinely remember? We talked about the small moments that create a great holiday, the welcome, the personal touches, the conversations, because guests rarely remember every feature of your property. They do remember how you made them feel. And today I'd like to take that conversation one step further. Creating a memorable stay is only half the story. The real opportunity comes after your guests leave. Do they become another 5-star review that slowly disappears into the background? Or do they become a loyal guest who return, recommend your property to friends, and quietly become your best marketing team? Well, that's what today's episode is all about. After decades of working in hospitality, I've noticed something interesting. The most successful independent operators aren't the ones with the newest properties, the lowest prices, or the biggest budgets. They're the ones who make guests feel welcome, valued, and confident enough that booking somewhere else barely crosses their mind. The good news is that every vacation rental owner can learn how to do this. Welcome back to Vacation Rental Resolutions, where independent vacation rental owners stop surviving the business and start building rentals that guests love, systems that work, and a profitable rental business. Hi, I'm Jerry McPherson, and I've spent more than 30 years in hospitality, worked with vacation rental owners around the world, and each week we talk about the real side of running a vacation rental. We don't teach people how to run accommodation. We teach them how to build a hospitality business that supports the life they want to live. If you haven't done so yet, sign up, and if it is applicable, ring that bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Most owners spend huge amounts of time worrying about occupancy, checking calendars, watching competitors, adjusting prices, refreshing Airbnb, Booking.com, and Vrbo. I've seen many people do the same thing. An empty calendar makes every owner uncomfortable. But here's what I've learned. The strongest vacation rental businesses don't spend all their energy chasing strangers. They spend just as much energy looking after the people they've already welcomed. Finding new guests almost always costs more than welcoming back existing ones. Returning guests already know your property. They trust your hospitality. They understand how everything works. Most importantly, they arrive feeling confident instead of uncertain. And that can be incredibly powerful. Hospitality doesn't end at checkout. In many ways, that's where long-term relationships begin. Let me tell you a story about 2 vacation rental owners whose businesses looked almost identical on paper, yet produced completely different results. Now, just to be clear, these aren't real people, but they're based on owners that I have met many, many times over the years. Let's call them Sarah and David. They both own similar 2-bedroom vacation rentals. Both are close to popular attractions. Both charge similar nightly rates. Both receive good reviews. From the outside, you struggle to tell their businesses apart. But look a little closer and you'll notice something interesting. Every morning, Sarah starts the same way. Coffee in hand, phone in the other, checking occupancy, watching competitors, adjusting prices, wondering why next month still has empty dates. She's always reacting, always chasing, always trying to stay one step ahead. Now David checks his bookings too. But after that, he spends 10 minutes reviewing the guests who stayed last month, who celebrated an anniversary, who traveled with children, who mentioned they'd love to return next summer, who left a wonderful review. He makes a few notes, sends a couple of thank you emails. Sometimes he shares the details about a local event they might enjoy later in the year. Then he gets on with the rest of his day. Neither owner works harder. Neither spends significantly more time marketing. The difference isn't the property, it's the relationship. You have to remember, hospitality doesn't end at checkout. And this is where many owners quietly leave money on the table. They think the guest journey ends when someone closes the front door for the last time. In reality, the checkout is often the beginning of your next booking. Now think about your own experiences. Have you ever received a genuine thank you after buying something? Not an automated receipt, a personal message. Someone remembered your name, asked how everything went, invited you back. It feels different, doesn't it? Technology has changed. Human nature hasn't. Guests still want to feel recognized. A sincere thank you message, a quick note asking if you have arrived home safely, a friendly email a few months later. These things take minutes, but the impression they leave lasts for years. So why do memories beat marketing? And here's something I often tell vacation rental owners. Marketing gets attention. Memories create momentum. Marketing persuades someone to book. Memories persuade someone to return. Imagine you just had a wonderful holiday. A month later, a friend tells you that they're planning a trip to the same area. Which property would you recommend? Usually, it's the place that made you smile, the owner who made you feel welcome, the property where everything felt easy. That's the power of word of mouth. Recommendations come wrapped in trust. When someone says, "Have you stayed there?" You have to stay there. The owner was fantastic. People listen. And unlike advertising, genuine recommendations can't be bought. They have to be earned. One thoughtful interaction at a time. So what's one simple habit that changes everything? If memorable hospitality isn't about spending more money or working longer hours, what's it about? Well, in my experience, it comes down to one simple habit. Before every guest arrives, successful hosts ask themselves one little question. What would make this stay just a little easier? Not spectacular, not extravagant, just easier. That simple question changes the way you look at your property. Instead of thinking like an owner, you begin thinking like a guest. Let's say a family with 2 young children is arriving. You might leave a small step stool in the bathroom, perhaps a couple of children's books beside the bed. Maybe you recommend a local playground that tourists rarely discover. None of those things cost very much, but together they send a powerful message. We did think about you before you arrived. Did you know that friction is the enemy of great hospitality? And this is one word that every vacation rental owner should understand. Friction. Friction is anything that interrupts a guest enjoyment. Sometimes it's obvious. A broken appliance, poor cleanliness, a delayed check-in, but more often it's much smaller. Confusing instructions, poor lighting at the entrance, no bedside charging port. On their own, these things seem insignificant. Together they shape the guest's overall impression. The good news, removing friction usually costs far less than adding luxury. Better lighting, clear instructions, a labeled switch, a luggage rack. Simple improvements often deliver bigger results. Now, I'd like to leave you with one simple challenge. Don't try to become the perfect host. Become a slightly better host than you were yesterday. Hospitality isn't built in one weekend. It's built on one guest at a time. One thoughtful message, one smoother arrival, one clearer instruction, one memorable farewell. Those small moments quietly become your reputation. And over time, your reputation becomes one of your greatest business assets. So make sure you download the 7-day rental Jumpstart. Find the link in the show notes, and this will help you immensely. So what's one small thing that you have done that guests mention over and over again in their reviews? Maybe it is your welcome basket, a local recommendation, fresh flowers, a handwritten note. Or perhaps you've experienced something memorable during your own travels. Let me know in the comments. I am very curious and I do read everyone. So here are your key takeaways from today's episode. Guests remember feelings, not facilities. Repeat guests reduce marketing costs. Thoughtful hospitality builds loyalty. Remove friction before adding luxury. Improve one small thing every week. When we started today's episode, I asked you to think about a place you would happily return to. By now, the reason is probably much clearer. You didn't return because it had the newest furniture or the biggest television or the lowest prices. You returned because someone made you feel welcome. That is the heart of hospitality. As vacation rental owners, it's easy to believe we need bigger budgets to compete. The truth is, we usually need better habits. Thoughtfulness, consistency, preparation, kindness. Those are the things that your guests will remember. Whether you're welcoming your very first booking or your thousandth, every stay is an opportunity to create a relationship instead of simply completing a transaction. When you do that consistently, something remarkable happens. Guests will relax sooner, reviews will become warmer, recommendations will happen naturally, repeat bookings become more common. And your marketing becomes easier because your previous guests begin telling your story for you. That's the kind of business most of us really want to build. Calmer, more enjoyable, and ultimately more profitable. If you're interested in checking out more resources to help your business grow, visit vacationrentalresolutions.com. If this episode helped you take one step closer to a calmer, smarter vacation rental business, subscribe and share it with another owner. And if you'd like to support what we do, feel free to buy us a coffee. It helps keep the lights on and the ideas flowing. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need the right next step. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time on Vacation Rental Resolutions.